At any time?
You can do anything you want.
No way!
Welcome to the Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll podcast. Saving rock, one conversation at a time. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm your host, Randy Legault, and joining me for our very first Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll six-pack, all the way from Florida, we got Jon Garner. And the Calgary Crue, we got Brian McCullaugh, Jamie Landry, and making his Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll debut, let's welcome Dany Bee to the show. Welcome, boys. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Okay, let's do this, man. Here's what we're doing. Here's the premise. I'm sure everybody remembers the 1989 classic Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, let's say if we could hop in Bill and Ted's phone booth time machine, go back in time, which 6 bands or artists would you want to see, and when would you want to see them? Which tour, which show, who would you want to see? So each of us will start out briefly explaining how we arrived at our list, because how did you cut that fucker down? I had like 20 on mine. Like, it was crazy. It was absolutely brutal.
It was pretty tough, actually.
Yeah. And then we'll give our bottom 3, 6, 5, 4, go around again, top 3, 3, 2, 1, and then 3 honorable mentions. You get the idea. Cool?
Just hang on a second before we get going. Are you going to change the fucking rules all the time like you do every show?
I just might.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hang on a second. These were the rules, but because it's my show.
That's the wild card. You never know what I'm going to do. That's right.
Right.
Okay, Jon, let's start with you then, buddy. Give me your 654.
654. Well, okay, so how did I get to this? So all bands that at some point in time have meant a lot to me, and you'll see when we start to get into the time of all this. I miss some of it by a little bit. I miss some of it by a little bit more. And generally speaking, I think this is probably when these bands were at their peak, at least for me. So 6. This is going to be one for a UK audience, so you North American people don't really get it, probably. Around the 1972 era, they had a great album. Well, they had several great albums, but this was a big one. Piledriver, Status Quo. Venerably known as the Frantic Four. And, I mean, it's just nothing but hard guitars, blues, bass, boogie, and these guys could fucking rock. And they're still going in some form or another. Francis Rossi, who's one of the founding members, I think he's the only one that's basically left alive. Him and Rick Parfitt. Rick sadly died of cancer a few years ago. They were the guys, just rock Telecasters, but fuck were they loud, man. And they were just so much fun. And I think, too, is that there's nothing fancy with any of the stage shows. It's just all about the music that got delivered. Status quo, kind of like an English AC/DC. Nothing's going to change. You know what you're going to get every single, 47 albums in, and still the same stuff. So that's number 6.
Hang on a second. So over here, it's not status quo? Because over here it would be status quo.
Shove that up your ass, man. We call it status quo.
Tomato, whatever.
Over the pond, you just say quo, and everybody knows
Just
who you're
quo,
talking about.
right.
Yeah, gonna see the quo.
What album was in 72, you said?
Piledriver, Dany.
Piledriver. I'm going to check it out after.
There's a sweet spot there from about 72 to 75. I mean, they were churning out like an album every 8 months. I mean, basically, if you want to, I think probably with a lot of bands, you're not really sure about them, dip into their greatest hits. Hands down, my favorite song of theirs is a song called Caroline. It's killer. It's gold. His band, I really don't care what era, but I want to go see them. Never got to see them, sadly. Thin Lizzy. Listened to all their stuff as a kid. Never got that notch, sadly. And it's got to be with Gary Moore on guitars. Probably can't quite see it over my shoulder, but I finally got some decorating done. I got my 1984 Castle Donington Monsters of Rock t-shirt finally framed with the ticket, and Gary Moore led off that show back way back then.
Oh yeah, guys, he'll drive you nuts because he's been to all those fucking monsters of rock. It just makes you sick. It's just crazy,
Bastard.
dude. Oh my God. I'm surprised you hadn't seen them, John, honestly, like being over there.
I think it's just one of those timing things, right? Just never really hit. Shit happens. You see some stuff, you don't see other stuff. I can't believe this one hasn't made it into my top 3, but here we go. This is my number 4. This will come as no shock to anybody that watches this show. Does anybody watch this show?
The jury's out. The jury's still out.
Hopefully there's a draw with all of us on.
That's right.
Maybe with Jamie and Brian, we got a fighting chance here.
Yeah.
So back to 1978 and their best album. I'm sure the tour was fucking awesome. AC/DC, the Power Age tour. I never got a chance to see Bon. My first tour with seeing AC/DC was 81. Never got that notch, so that is definitely something, and Power Age is my favorite album, so that's the show I'd want to see.
The first one I got on cassette when I was about 15 or 16.
No way, eh? It's so good.
Power Age, yeah.
The only thing that shocks me about that pick is it's not way higher in the list for you. Like, I'm shocked
I know,
by that.
well, just fucking hold on to your underwear, Randall.
There's going to be some good ones.
Okay, man, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Brian, you're up, buddy.
All right. Yeah, to echo what John said, like bands that I really love, and they were at the pinnacle of their careers. All these picks that I have, they were on top of the world at the time that they were doing these shows. That I like to get into the DeLorean, fire it up to 88, and go back in time and see them.
You're changing time machines on me, Brian. What the fuck? We're in the phone booth, man. We're in the phone booth.
I'm going with the fucking hot tub. It's way cooler.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right. Shit, I forgot about the hot tub. I fucked right up. Too late. The artwork's already done.
You're too fucking cheap for artwork.
Okay, Brian. Sorry, buddy, to derail that, but go ahead.
One of my picks, I think John, you had it at 5, was Thin Lizzy. This one would be the August 16th, 1981 show, the first ever Slane Castle rock music festival.
Nice.
And a young, unknown U2 opened for them that day, too. So, I mean, to see them in Ireland, I mean, that would have been amazing. Anytime I'm back in Ireland, sometimes I'll throw Irish radio on while I'm working. Guaranteed if they'll play Thin Lizzy. They're still huge over there, right? And they were carving the way for Slane, because Slane became a big venue for rock shows after that. Like Bob Dylan played there a year later. Springsteen played there in 85.
Is that in Dublin?
Yeah, right in Dublin, yeah. Well, just outside of Dublin. It's in Dublin County, but it's outside the city limits. So it's an old castle, amphitheater, fucking castle in the background. Like just
Chili Peppers
cool.
did a pretty sweet live DVD from there way later, obviously, but it's pretty cool too. Yeah, it's a great venue. Yeah.
And Thin Lizzy rocked it first. Well, actually, U2 rocked it first, but Thin Lizzy was the headliner that day. So Phil Lynott was the ultimate rock star at the time. And that was more than enough to make my list. Brilliant band live. Never did see them either, so that would be on my list. Number 5 would be U2, the Zoo TV tour. It was the Achtung Baby tour, really. And Joshua Tree had come out 3 years before that. And I loved Achtung Baby from day one. It was the pinnacle of their existence as a rock band, for sure. Zoo TV tour was fucking great. They were the cutting edge with visuals, pushing the limits always. And they still are. I mean, I just saw them at the Sphere there a few months ago. And just a great, great show. The Sydney show was the one that the DVD was made out of. But I heard that other shows were better than the Sydney show. And the Dublin show at RDS Arena was right up there. And it would have been cool to see them again in Ireland. So my first 2 picks are in Ireland. But great bands. So that's my 5. Number 4, Wembley Stadium, July 11th and Saturday, July 12th. Pick one of them. It was during the Magic Tour Queen at Wembley. That's the one that recorded the live at Wembley 86 double live album. Over 70,000 people, like over 100,000 people over the 2 days, right? Wembley would be just fucking amazing. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have, John. That's a notch I would love to have. And they would be at the top of the list for Wembley for sure. That's something I'd travel back in time for sure. Seeing footage and the energy and the sound, even by today's standards, fucking awesome. Imagine what it'd be like to be there.
I didn't get to the Wembley show. I saw him at Milton Keynes Bowl. It was nuts. Like, just nuts.
I think Freddie's voice is the best voice in rock and roll, still to this day.
I know they keep replaying it because of the whole Bohemian Rhapsody thing on Live Aid when he got the crowd going. I mean, it's just, I got chilly bumps now just thinking about it because nobody did anything like that and still can't.
Now, he was a master at that, born to
Master.
do that.
The best.
If he only had some charisma, You know, like
Billy came out of his shell.
That's
and he had some confidence. Like, come on. Yeah. Awesome, Brian. Yeah, absolutely.
Number 4
dude.
for me. Come on, number 4 for sure. Yeah, let's go.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Landry, you're up, buddy. What do you got?
Well, these guys picked everything I was going to pick for 6.
Right? I know. I know.
Not quite, but there was a couple. And I didn't put as much thought into this as you guys did, so I'm the fucking idiot of the bunch, I guess, right? Before I get started, I'm just going to say this. You guys both talked about Thin Lizzy. It's not my pick, but I saw Metallica in Dublin 2006 Escape the Studio tour, and they played Whiskey in the Jar. I've never heard a crowd sing louder than the band ever in my life than that moment. It was very cool.
No crowd sings louder than the Irish crowd.
Yeah,
No
it was
crowd.
nuts.
Especially when it's an Irish fucking song.
For sure. It was insane. Number 6 for me, you said Power Age Tour. I just said AC/DC with Bon Scott because Bon Scott years of AC/DC were, to me, that is AC/DC. I'm not a huge Brian Johnson fan. I like some of the stuff with him, but...
okay, let's move on. Okay, let's cut him out.
John's like, look at the time.
He's a fucking Geordie lad.
Yes, it's a Geordie lad. He's great.
I didn't say I hated it. I just...
Newcastle.
I don't know, Jamie.
I just said I like the Bon Scott stuff better. That's all.
So do I, buddy. I'm with you. It's a tough room, Jamie.
That's okay. All right, number 5, Fleetwood Mac Rumors Tour. I love that album.
Nice.
And I would have loved to see them back then, for sure.
I grew up on that shit too, man.
Good pick, man.
That's all I have to say about that one, because I didn't put as much thought into this as you guys did. I just went, yeah, I would like to see this, and this. It took me literally fucking 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna get you to keep talking. Talk to me about Lindsey Buckingham as a guitarist, because man, that guy is phenomenal and has a really unique style.
I don't know who he is. Yes, great guitar player. And it's sad that they're still touring now and he's not part of it just because of, egos and whatever else, right?
Yep.
Vaginas wreck everything. That's what we learned from that shit, right?
Especially when there's more than one.
Like, I'm like, no Lindsey, no Fleetwood Mac. Like, I won't go see them without him.
Well, I mean, Mike Campbell's pretty cool himself, but it's fucking stupid. I mean, the guy's still alive. Why is he not in the band?
Well, it takes 2 guys, Mike Campbell and the guy from Crowded House, to fill that one spot. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Number 4 was already picked as well for me, but I don't have a specific tour or anything like that. I really would have loved to have seen Queen with Freddie Mercury, obviously.
He's going to be on all our lists. I've got a feeling.
I'm waiting to see how many did we choose of the same shit too.
I think there's a few of them for sure.
Hey, it's a solid 3, Jamie. Good job.
Just so you guys know, I took Led Zeppelin off my list, so I didn't pick that one.
Who?
What? Okay, Danny, you're up, buddy.
So number 6, I think, man, there's 3 of them. Fucking AC/DC, man, the Bon Scott years.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't care which album. I don't care which tour, as long as it was when they were like just kicking ass with Bon. Even Highway to Hell, because I guess that would have been their last official tour before he died. And you know what? This motherfucker died on my 7th birthday. February 19th, 1980. I mean, back then I had no idea who the hell Bon Scott and AC/DC was. But later, years later, I'm like, holy shit, he died on my 7th birthday. What does that mean? Does that mean anything? Lucky 7? Fucking Bon Scott dies? Oh, shit. But anyway, yeah, so AC/DC is number 6 for me. Any Bon Scott, much as I like Brian Johnson as well and some of the stuff, Back in Black.
You're just saying that because he just gave me shit for saying stuff about Brian Johnson. That's what's going on here.
Here we go.
But seriously though, Bon Scott, like as soon as you hear that guy's voice, it's just like, fuck. And I saw them twice live with Brian. I saw the Stiff Upper Lip tour and I saw Ball Breaker, I think. And it was fucking killer, but Bon Scott was long gone. Number 6. Number 5, I had to pick it. Fucking Led Zeppelin, man. Especially, I mean, I've seen it I don't know how many times, but the song remains the same. I don't know how many nights they did at Madison Square Garden for that movie, but
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, it was a few of them.
Yeah.
Probably any tour, any Zeppelin tour would have been good in my book. You know, even the reunion they did with Jason at the O2 Arena in, what was it, 2007? 2007, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, if I would have been able to afford it, I would have flew out to England. I would have seen that. But
20 million people tried to get tickets for 17,000 seats or whatever it
yeah,
was.
imagine that, man.
Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. Imagine how much the tickets were going for, too, even
yeah.
back then. But yeah, Zeppelin, I mean, if it wouldn't be for Jimmy Page, I don't know if I would ever have started playing guitar for, like, seriously. So Zeppelin for sure. And it's not just Jimmy, like fucking Bonham.
Oh, yeah.
John Paul Jones. You know, after a while, Robert Plant's vocals is a little bit like Geddy Lee for me, like one album or two, and I'm like, okay, I need a break. Number 4, fucking Beatles, man. Their live performances were fairly limited for like how long their impact on the music world has been going on. Like, if you don't count the early days when they were playing in Hamburg, Germany, or wherever they started out, they played basically like 64. They came to the States. Their last live performance was at the Rooftop thing.
Yep.
So 5-6 years, but that would have been cool to see the Beatles live even back then. Just the whole experience, even the early stuff where you probably couldn't even hear the band that much because...
I was going to say, all you would have heard was the chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So the Beatles, and you know what? Even seeing them at the Cavern or the early days in a more intimate setting, that would have been fucking so amazing.
Definitely, yeah.
You're right. They didn't tour as much as people realize, hey? They really didn't. They became a studio band. It seems crazy.
There are a lot of people left alive that have that notch.
God, right?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could see Ringo or Paul fucking before they kicked the bucket, I'd be okay with that.
Right. I've seen McCartney once at BC Place. Fuck, dude. He brought me to tears, and I'm man enough to admit it. And I'm not even a huge Beatles guy.
You don't have to be, I don't think.
He's doing, what's the ballad he wrote to his wife there? Maybe I'm Amazed or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God. And he shrunk that place. He shrunk that 60,000, whatever it was, into a club almost. It was unbelievable. God, it was good.
BC Place, what the fuck? That's got to be like 50,000 people in there.
Oh, yeah.
No?
That's a big-ass barn.
And I didn't even go there to see him. My brother and I went, sidebar, went to see Springsteen at the hockey rink there. And he goes, fuck it, what do you want to do tonight? He's looking, hey, McCartney's in town. You want to go to that? I'm like, yeah. So
Nice.
So we just spontaneously went, got some floor seats, and off we went. It was fucking killer.
And then later in life, I've learned how to play that thing, and I've come to a huge appreciation for how the fuck he wrote some of those bass lines and played them and sang them at the same fucking time.
Okay, man, my criteria, it was just, like I said, this was fucking brutal for me. So I went with bands I've never seen. That's the only way I could cut it down, except one exception, and you'll know what it is when I get to it. So even if I saw a band not in their prime, would I love to see Aerosmith, Rocks Tour? Fuck yeah. But I saw Aerosmith, so off the list. I just had to get brutal about it. I'd still be doing it. Okay, coming in at number 6, it was only a 9-song set, but the impact was massive. So I went back to 1967, the Monterey Pop Festival Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh,
come on. He was introduced by Brian Jones as the most exciting performer he'd ever heard in his life. He opens with Howlin' Wolf's Killin' Floor, Hey Joe, B.B. King's Rock Me Baby, does Wild Thing, does Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone, and then 4 originals, Foxy Lady, Can You See Me, When Christ Mary, and Purple Haze. Dude, this band, 3-piece, the racket they fucking made. Noel Redding on bass, Mitch Mitchell on drums, we all know. It's one of the best live performances ever. It's Jimmy just peaking. And the thing about him, he was dangerous. And that's missing in rock music, I think. Like, this guy was an alien.
He set his Strat on fire at that show, didn't he?
Dude, absolutely. Sets it on fire and then breaks it and throws chunks into the crowd. There's that image of him doing this and the fire's coming off it. I mean, come on. It's crazy, man. Playing with his teeth.
I think that's the guitar that Dweezil Zappa ended up with.
I think you're right. I have heard that. Yeah, Frank had it.
It was fucked up. Like, he had to put it back together.
Well, on that note, I got a quote from Jimmy. He goes, I decided to destroy my guitar at the end of the song as a sacrifice. You sacrifice things you love. I love my guitar.
That's beautiful.
But the thing was, he wasn't like household name before this show. But afterwards, he was a fucking legend. Like, immediately, right? And here's my caveat, though. There's 90,000 people there or something stupid, right? So I would need the VIP treatment. Like, I'd have to be side stage, not in the front with all the riffraff and the hippies. And
you are so fucking bad. Like, you are so bad.
I'd have to be next to Jimmy's girlfriend or something, you know. Okay, man, my number 5, we've all mentioned the band already. Freddie Mercury is my second favorite frontman of all time, just behind Mick. I think Mick's the fucking GOAT. To see him at any time would have been unreal, but I went with 77, the fucking News of the World tour. When Freddie didn't have the mustache yet, he was still rocking those jester jumpsuits and shit. And they had that crazy lighting rig, I think it was called the Crown. That was all cutting edge at the time. Man, it was just awesome. And I think they were heavier then. Like, I like the later stuff too, Magic Tour, like you said, Brian, but it's got a heavier set list with Stone Cold Crazy and Liar and Sheer Heart Attack, this kind of stuff, right? What else can I say? 2-hour show, 30 songs. It's unreal. Oh, they do that fast version of We Will Rock You, which is fucking sweet. And they end with Jailhouse Rock by Elvis, of course, and I'm an Elvis freak, so that's cool. Well, go on YouTube. I mean, I'm just going to show this DVD, this bootleg DVD, but of course, nobody needs that anymore. But there's 2 Pro Shot shows. One's at the Summit in Houston, which is this one, and there's one at Earl's Court too. So you can see this shit. Pro Shot. It looks mint. If you haven't, check it out. They're my number 5. Okay, man. I came close to seeing these guys in 84 on the Perfect Strangers tour, but they canceled for some reason. I can't remember. I'm just a kid. Probably banned infighting. Richie Blackmore probably pissed somebody off.
Yeah.
But regardless, I want to go back to Japan in 1972 and see the tour for one of my favorite albums of all time, Machine Head, Deep Purple, man, 1972. I want to see one of the shows that was recorded for Made in Japan, obviously. I mean, this is the Mark II lineup in full flight. Ian Gillan on vocals, Ian Pace on drums, Roger Glover bass, the late John Lord on keys, and of course, Richie fucking Blackmore on guitar. Short set, man. Highway Star, Child in Time, Smoke on the Water, The Mule, Strange Kind of Woman, Lazy, 10-minute version of Lazy, and a 20-minute version of Space Drunken. I mean, these guys are stretching out. They're improvising. They're showing how amazing they are at improv and live on stage. I got 2 quotes. One's from John Lord, keyboardist. He says, the band was at the height of its powers. It was the epitome of what we stood for in those days. Perfect. And Ian Pace, the drummer, as a tour de force of innovation and living on the edge and great playing with a fantastic sound, nothing comes close. So they're humble. They're humble.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I want to go back to Japan at 72 and see these guys. Yeah.
No surprise that's on your list.
Okay, John, let's go to your top 3.
Well, you just went with it with number 4. As you know, Randall, Blackmore is the start and finish for me as a guitar player. Pace is 100% right. Like you said, Randy, I mean, take me to Osaka and let me just watch that whole fucking show. And fuck you in the VIP. I want to be getting crushed out front. Like, fucking let's do it. One of the coolest things about those guys was because everything was so loud, basically they had these hand signals for where they were going to do their breaks, right? So, you know, Richie would be going along and then he'd be like flicking his hands up. So Lord knew where he was coming back in, and then Pace knew what he was doing. And let's just take a moment while we're here as all music fans to acknowledge Ian fucking Pace. He is still going. He's the driving force of that band. Still nobody sounds like him. His snare work is absolutely fucking incredible. I mean, even at his age, I would put him up against anybody. Top 3 in the Mount Rushmore of drummers of all time for me. I think he's fucking brilliant. So you guys have brought them up earlier, but my number 2, Queen.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
And wow. This was the jazz tour, and yeah, that's what I want to go see, because it was fucking awesome. That is literally the peak of their powers. And still, I hadn't heard, till I bought this record, I hadn't heard the fast version of We Will Rock You, and I was like, well, this one for me, you really get the sense of everybody feeling it, and how awesome that would have been to have been there. Did a 4-person band make any more fucking racket than those guys? Like, it's incredible. We talked about Blackmore. I'm a fucking huge Blackmore guy. I want to go back and see Rainbow with Ronnie.
Yeah.
And I don't care which area you go to. It can be Rainbow Rising, or it can be Long Live Rock and Roll, which in essence is Rainbow on stage.
Right.
Which is a fucking killer double live album. There's some shit missing off from the actual shows, but that's who I want to go back and see. That is my number 1. Blackmore just doing what he does, and my guy, Cozy Powell on drums.
Yeah.
Ronnie James Dio doing Ronnie James Dio.
That rainbow stage, that rainbow that lit up for the time, that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. And even just the theatrics of opening up with Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, right.
Kind of cool.
That doesn't surprise me at all. That's your number one. Okay, Bri, what do you got for your 3, 2, 1?
Everything seems to be revolving around Queen and Freddie Mercury. So I'm going to go back to 1992 in the time machine. We're going to go see the Freddie Mercury benefit concert.
Nice.
In front of a sold-out crowd, all the huge names from music at the time.
That was at Wembley too, wasn't it?
That was at Wembley, yeah.
And Extreme did a set all by themselves.
They stole the show.
They're huge Queen fans, the whole band.
They were fucking tight and they did a fucking great job. Wow, man. The stage is littered with everybody from Bob Geldof, U2, Def Leppard, Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Spinal Tap.
Oh, yeah.
Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and of course Queen. And they had lots of guest appearances on every song they played. Somebody would join them. People like Bowie, Elton John, Robert Plant.
Yeah.
James Hetfield and Axl Rose did double duties. What an epic night, man. Come on. Like, everybody is there. Everybody is there, pretty much, right?
That's a great call. I never would have thought of one of those gigs, one of those festival type gigs. I never thought of that.
That's
cool.
why I asked you if there were rules. And you said, no, it's kind of open. So I thought.
That's a lot of bang for your buck for that one show, man.
For sure it is.
That would have been an epic night to be a part of. It's a tribute to Murphy. Obviously, he died of AIDS. All the proceeds went to AIDS. Just a epicenter of music for that one day and one night.
Now, Jamie, you might know this because you're an extreme nerd. I think Brian May was pissed off at those guys because they did all those songs, even though those songs were going to get played later. He forgave them, but why are you playing all that shit?
I don't remember that, but you could be right.
And there was that whole controversy between Elton and Axl. Remember that? Because GNR put out that song with the word faggots in it, or what, off GNR Lies.
Oh,
and they're like, are they going to play together? And he came out in his leather skirt. It was all good. They hugged it out. Good pick, man. I never would have thought of that. That's fucking awesome.
That was a good one. Really good.
Let's move it along. Now, number 2, going back to July 15th, 1985 in the time machine. Stevie Ray Vaughan with Double Trouble.
Oh, that's a great pick too.
Man, their band was on absolute fire. I love Tommy Shannon's bass work. Like, I've become a bass player later in life. And Tommy Shannon, he lays in blues grooves like no other. What a fucking power trio, man. You've never seen them, obviously. I don't know if anybody here has. If you have.
I have not.
I saw him at the Jubilee with Jeff Healey opening on Soul to Soul.
That's cool.
Suck on that.
I know Sam was on a recent podcast and he mentioned how tight the band was. And they were tight because they played together live a ton. I do like that Austin City Limits. I think it was 89 when he was sober.
Yeah, with Reese Winan on keys. Yeah, they were a 4-piece for that.
One of the founders of rock blues. What a great guitar player. Probably my favorite guitar player. It's between him and Gary Moore.
The raw fucking power that he had in his hands, man.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And then he dies. Fucking tragic.
Yeah, he gets his act together and dies. You're like, what? Just brutal.
Could have been Clapton, but no, it was Stevie.
Yeah, right.
Clapton gave his seat to Stevie.
Not to be a dick, but if I could go back in time to switch that, I would.
You said it, Randy.
I did. I said it. I'll stand by that too. Okay, Brian, what else you got?
Number 1, June 17th, 1981, Earl's Court, London. The final ever concert of the Wall Tour with all 4 members. Roger Waters, David Gilmour, Nick Mason, Richard Wright. Performed in only 4 cities with 31 shows. Only England, the United States, and Germany. The concert was one of 5 that were filmed. What a great fucking double album. Happiest Days, Mother, Comfortably Numb, the whole fucking thing. I love that album so much. It's profound, the effect that album had on me. They were amazing at that point in their career. It must have been a fucking spectacle. It's sad that it was all coming to a close by that stage. Would have been amazing to see that. That was the end of that band's touring history.
I mean, that stage show, how ambitious was that? Here's what we want to do. Back then, are you fucking kidding me? That's what you want to do? And they pulled it off.
Yeah.
We want to put up a wall between us and the fans. Huh?
Yeah. But if you know what, if there was a Final Cut tour, it would have made my list.
That album was pretty much just Roger Waters, though. It wasn't really a band effort.
That's true.
No.
As far as I know.
The band was just fucking on fumes by then, as a band.
Yeah.
Number 1, Pink Floyd, The Wall. For me, you can't top that.
I'm gonna top it, Brian.
No, you're gonna try. You're gonna try.
Okay, Jamie, you're up, buddy. So you still with us?
Are you having a beverage there, Jay?
There you go.
A sparkling water. Number 3 for me is Prince Purple Rain Tour.
Nice.
There's a New York Syracuse show. I have it on album. Prince's people officially released it. There's a 20-minute version of Purple Rain on there, and it's become my favorite version of that song because it's just him playing guitar for pretty much 13 minutes of it.
Wow.
And I'm a pretty big Prince fan. I like a lot of his stuff. I would have loved to have seen that tour, for sure.
Did you see him in 2011 when he was at the Saddle Dome?
I have never seen him live.
I was there.
I was, however, working at Axe Music when I showed up one day, and they're like, hey, Prince and his band are coming here to rehearse. And I was like, sure they are, right? I was like, fucking whatever. And then literally an hour later, all these people walk in, and there's a group of people around him, and they went right straight back to the PA room and rehearsed, and we all fucking went from whatever we were doing to in the room beside it, sitting there with our ears up, listening to this whole thing go on, right? And the first thing they said, don't tell anyone, don't make a big fucking deal out of it, all this shit. And this was before internet, all that stuff, right? So
Don't make a big deal out of it.
I was calling everyone I fucking knew. Hey, Prince is in the store, fucking rehearsing. Gotta go. Fucking, hey, Prince is in the right?
Of course you did.
Wow. There's all sorts of stories like that. I remember when he played here, he ended up doing one of those late night jams at some Japanese restaurant on 17th or something.
I heard about that.
Till like 4 a.m. I'm like, what?
Was that when he was here 2011?
It could have been, yeah.
That time?
Fucking crazy. I saw him at the Jubilee, dude. Rainbow Children Tour. Yeah, was that
That
it?
was the year, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember him pulling somebody up on stage at that show. That was Greg Kuchar. And the reason they pulled him up on stage is when they were there, they were rehearsing songs, but they didn't have their CDs with them. This was, again, before MP3s and all that shit, right? Before iTunes, all that stuff. So they needed copies of their discs so they could listen to him. And for whatever reason, no one could find this certain CD. So my buddy goes, hey, I have a friend of mine. He has all your stuff. He's like a big fan. So he came in, walked into the rehearsal room, gave them the CDs, got to meet him, all that shit. And then later on that night at the show, that's why he recognized him in the crowd and pulled him up on the stage. So,
Oh my
so
God,
cool.
man.
So cool.
That is just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I love Prince too, Jamie. He's not on my list because I've seen him 3 times, so that was my out. Okay, Jamie, you got one more, yeah?
2 more.
2 more,
I
yeah.
guess you can't count.
I can't. I've had too many beers.
All right. Number 2 for me was James Brown. I've never seen him live either. I'm a huge James Brown fan as well. So
Oh, killer choice.
I saw him at Woodstock 99.
would have loved to have seen him.
The hardest working man in show business.
That's right. Godfather of Soul.
If it sounds good and it feels good, it is good.
Oh, JB. But I love the story how he'd fine his band on stage if they'd fuck up. $50, $100.
Yeah.
Danny, you said you saw him. I saw him too at the Saddle Dome. The only time I've ever seen the stage on the side. Like it was on the side of the arena, not at the end.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
weird.
And it was fucking a cavern. There was nobody there.
Wow.
It was,
What?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't even a third sold out. And I remember he had this big titted blonde chick was his girlfriend at the time. My new girlfriend's going to sing a couple numbers. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, no.
All right.
I saw his set at Woodstock 99. It was fucking killer. It's on YouTube. You can check it out on YouTube.
You were at Woodstock
Fuck.
99? Oh my God,
Yeah.
man. That was that crazy one, right? With all the violence and shit?
Yeah. I didn't witness anything bad.
I'm curious about this because I've seen that documentary and how fucking nuts it was. Did you get anywhere near the stage? Like, were you in that mayhem with the fires and all that shit going on?
I was pretty far from the fires because there was some fucked up shit going on in Limp Bizkit, but on the Sunday night when the Chili Peppers played, that's when shit was lit on fire for real.
That's right.
Yeah. Actually, it's when they played Jimi Hendrix's Fire. It coincided with everybody lighting shit up, and it was pretty far back, but we could see it. And then, we saw the aftermath of it all the next day, and we heard some of the propane tanks fucking blowing up and shit.
You must have been scared
Yeah.
a little bit, no? Like,
Well, we
not?
were we felt safe where
They
we
were high on acid. They didn't fucking.
they were on shrooms. What did I
We
do?
were on shrooms, yeah. Yeah.
Is that fire real? Did anybody
fuck,
else
man.
hear that?
Yeah, it was pretty wild on the Sunday night. There was a couple with a newborn fucking baby in the crowd for Metallica. I thought it was seeing things, and I'm like, nope, that's a real baby. Like, the chick was breastfeeding that baby in the fucking crowd.
Wow.
It was fucking wild.
Oh,
man.
my
I was
God,
like,
man.
what the fuck?
Oh, wow. I've never talked to anybody who was actually at that. That's crazy, man.
That's cool.
Okay, sorry, Jamie.
That's
Yeah.
all right. That's cool.
Jamie's like, that's okay. These guys are filling in the blanks for me. This is fucking awesome. I throw out a band in a concert and they go with it.
All I had was, I want to see fucking James Brown. You guys took off with fucking...
Half an hour later, he's going with
Oh,
number
my
2.
God. That's awesome. And go.
All right, number one. Here's where I broke my own rule because I did the same thing. I tried not to pick bands that I've already seen. And I'm pretty sure you've already seen this tour, so fuck you ahead of time. Van Halen Fair Warning Tour. It's my favorite album ever. That's number one for me. Eddie is like God.
Do you recognize this picture, Jamie?
I can't see, so
You saw that tour, Randy?
That's my first concert ever, yeah.
yeah.
Really, eh?
Wow.
This is a Fair Warning Tour opening for the Stones, the very last gig at the Rose Bowl. That's what this is. Yeah, it was my first concert, Fair Warning. Fuck, dude, that is them at their absolute fucking peak. No question.
It is for sure. And that is my absolute favorite Van Halen album. I fucking love that album. So
I agree.
that's all I got to say about that.
I've seen a fucking ton of concerts, as you can imagine. And some I saw 2 years ago, I can't remember. But I can fucking remember that one, man. It is burned in my brain.
No doubt.
I went with my brother. My parents dropped us off. I was in grade 10, I think.
Was that the Corral or where was that?
Corral. And they come out with On Fire. Dude,
Oh,
it was like, I can't even describe the power. And Roth comes off the kit and the splits and all that. And we're on Eddie's side. So the PA came up like that, right? When he was on top of that, he was right there with those white and red striped socks and the white pants and shit. Rail thin, just fucking ripping it. Dude.
Was he playing this guitar?
Yeah, he might have been.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's those 3 videos from Oakland. That gives you a little taste of what it was
Yeah.
like. But man, you got to feel that shit in your body, man, and see that stuff to really appreciate
When
it.
they start, I think it's an Oakland clip, Unchained, man. And Dave goes, everybody up. Oh my fucking God, man. That gives me goosebumps, that shit.
Every guy in that crowd wanted to be Eddie, and every chick in that arena wanted to fuck Dave. That's
Yeah.
just what's going on there. And I was well into the band by then, too, so I was just vibrating. Anyway, great choice, man. Awesome. Okay, Danny, you're up, buddy. Who's on the podium?
So, number 3, I got to go with this guy that I always thought I'd be able to get to see him before he died, but unfortunately I never did. And it's fucking David Bowie. Now, specifically, I'd have to go with the Ziggy Stardust kind of era. Mick Ronson on guitar. I don't know, man. There's something special about that David Bowie era for me. You know, whatever album China Girl and all that was on.
Let's Dance, wasn't it?
Yeah, Let's Dance. That's right. Stevie Ray played on that album, actually. As much as I love that kind of David Bowie era as well, Ziggy Stardust, the early stuff. So yeah, that's number 3 for me.
That's a great choice, man. You know what? Just as a sidebar, because I'm just thinking of shit. I'm a big Manson fan. I know Jamie is too. And he stole that whole fucking shtick on that Mechanical Animals album.
Yeah.
It was all that. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was so influential, right? And Aladdin Sane too. But yeah, great call. Yeah, awesome. Mick Ronson. Oh, yeah, wicked.
Yeah, so fucking wicked guitar playing, man. Like, very underrated playing in my book. Number 2, fucking Thin Lizzy, man.
There they are again.
Huge fan of that band, especially the Gary Moore years. The power that he had, the raw energy.
His tone, Danny. That fucking tone.
Yeah.
Like that still got the blues tone.
Oh,
Yeah.
all his blues stuff was fucking awesome.
There's some footage of him playing Parisian Walkways, I think it is, with Phil singing. Fuck, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's amazing. He wasn't just like a one-trick pony. That guy played fucking every style, man. Like heavy metal, fucking blues. There's some YouTube stuff of him playing jazzy stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like,
One of my favorite clips is, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, it's Old Grey Whistle Test. It's Cozy Powell on drums, Phil Lynott, and Randy Legault on Scott Gorham and Gary's busts a string like 2 seconds into the song. They're doing Don't Believe a Word.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
The version starts off all mellow, and then it fucking like a light switch. It kicks into overdrive, and Gary goes berserk. It's the coolest thing ever. It's so awesome. Okay, Daddy, sorry, buddy. As you were.
That was number 2. Number 3, Jimi Hendrix, man, with The Experience. There's no particular tour or whatever, like whatever, Jimi Hendrix Experience just before that ended. You know what? I would even fucking settle for the Band of Gypsies with Billy Cox and Buddy Miles on drums, but...
At the Fillmore, yeah.
Yeah, some of the live stuff they came out with before he died. But the original Experience with Mitch Mitchell and, Noel Redding. Are You Experience? That fucking album, man, I wore that fucking tape out, and there was nothing cooler for me. Like, Jimmy Page kind of got me wanting to play guitar. But then when I got into Jimi Hendrix, I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, this guy is beyond just Jimmy Page, like, it's just a completely different fucking mindset and approach to the instrument, especially when he played live. Like, everything changed when they played all those songs live. The tempo was way faster. There was a little bit more jamming in between.
Yeah, there was not that, hey, it doesn't sound like the CD. None of that shit was happening. It's like, who cares? It's just coming through the guy. It's just fucking coming through.
So one of you guys said earlier that danger was missing from rock music. Part of the reason that is because everyone plays to a click track and a fucking 48 Pro Tools rig and whatever nowadays.
And backing tracks for this or whatever. Oh, there's keyboards, but there's only 3 guys on stage. What the fuck is going on there?
Exactly. There's no feel in music anymore.
Yeah, it's supposed to breathe a little bit, man. Come on. Well, he was like an alien. There was that famous story. I might be getting this wrong, but I know it was Clapton. I think it was Townsend, and maybe Jeff Beck. I think it was those 3 guys. And one of them called the other 2 and said, have you seen this guy?
Yeah.
So they went to see him. And I
At
think
the Marquee in London. That's when all the big stars went to see him.
And Townsend or one of them said to the other 2, we better fucking change jobs, man.
Yeah.
We should become plumbers or some shit because this guy's from another planet. Yeah.
The first time that Jeff Beck got intimidated by another guitar player was when he saw Jimi Hendrix.
And that says something.
Yeah. And then they became buddies. And that's all I got, man.
That's it? That was the gold medal? All right.
Is that number 1? Yeah, that was number 1. Yeah.
But as Jamie pointed out, I can't count. So I got to check in. Okay, my bronze goes to, and Danny's mentioned him already. I'm gonna get specific. These guys played 5 nights at Earl's Court in London in May of '75. 17,000 people a night on the Physical Graffiti tour, baby. Of course, I'm talking the mighty Led Zeppelin. This to me is them at their peak for me. We don't know who they are, but you got John Paul Jones not only playing bass, but he's playing keys, he's playing mandolin, whatever it takes. And he Bonham. We all know how great Bonham is. Robert Plant. I believe his junk was hanging to the right on that tour. I think it was like that way. Is that stage left or stage right? And he's fucking wailing away.
I hadn't even noticed.
Well, how do you not? He just leads with it, man. It's just forward.
You think he got laid that night?
You think? Yeah. Oh my God, were they getting it done? And you got Jimmy in that dragon suit. Dude, doing what he does best. It's just badass. And the stage show took a leap here. Like they had that big Zeppelin logo all lit up. They didn't have that before. And you had lasers on Jimmy's solo with the bow and shit. What else can I say? They opened with rock and roll. I mean, it's just boom, 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 right? Over the Hills, Song Remains the Same, Rain Song, No Quarter. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Zeppelin were the first band to do like a sit-down acoustic section of the show. Like they did Going to California, That's the Way, and Bronyard Stomp. Like I'd never seen that before. Yeah, Moby Dick, Days, Stairway, and 2 encores, Whole Lotta Love, Black Dog, and second encore, Heartbreaker, Communication Breakdown. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I only knew one person that ever saw Zeppelin. My brother-in-law's brother saw them in Vancouver, and he was high on acid and can't remember shit about it. So that was super, super fucking disappointing. But you don't know at the time necessarily how great something is that you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to a concert, and these guys are great. It's all hindsight, right? Okay, I'm on number 2. I'm on the silver medal. Okay, my number 1 and 2 are tied. I know that sounds like a weasel out.
It's on brand for you.
It is, I know. And technically, I've seen this band live, so that's why they're number 2. I've seen them. And nobody's going to be surprised by this. I grew up worshiping and idolizing this band. They were the band that started this whole obsession. If it weren't for Kiss, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys. Yeah, I never got to see them back in the heyday. I mean, I'm in Summerland, British Columbia, a small town. They're not coming there. They're not coming to the Okanagan. Now, what era? I was tempted to go Destroyer because that's my favorite outfits. That's my favorite presentation. But man, I had to go with Love Gun Tour, LA Forum, 77. They played 3 nights, and those recordings were used for Kiss Alive 2, right? This was super Kiss. Young, hungry, kicking ass. The energy on stage is unreal. I mean, you know the guys. Paul Stanley, master MC, and back then, incredible fucking singer. You got Gene spitting blood and breathing fire. What more do you need there? Can he play bass? Who cares? You get Peter Criss playing his fucking drum solo with pyro shooting out everywhere. And you got Ace Frehley with a literal smoking guitar solo. Come on. Set list is great too. So this one leaned on the previous 3 albums, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun. The only drag is my favorite Kiss song is Deuce, and they didn't play it in this particular set, but that's all right. They open with I Stole Your Love, which it's a great song.
Oh,
but
I love that song.
I do too, but I think they should open with Detroit. They should always open with either Deuce or Detroit. That's just me.
Like you have to.
Come on.
You got
But I Stole Your Love, that's not on Love Gun, is it? No.
Yeah, that's the first track.
Okay, so that's why they opened up with that.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But I still think Detroit's more powerful, right? But anyway.
For sure.
Take Me, Firehouse, Love Gun, Hooligan with Peter on vocals, Christine 16, Making Love. We know it all. Encore, Detroit, Beth, and Black Diamond. My thing is, my caveat on this one is, I want to go back and be 12 years old. It's my first concert. That would be mind-blowing. Like I hadn't seen anything else because you have all these concerts in your head. So you're going to be comparing it. You know, I want to be 12 and see this show, man. Front fucking row. You know, I know Reed saw this tour in Lethbridge and he tells the story. It gives me goosebumps every time. So they had to scale the stage down because the Lethbridge Arena wasn't the Saddle Dome or whatever. They didn't use the risers. Didn't matter. He goes, you hear the rumble and the hiss of the amps and the lights are off, but you could see the glitter from their outfits just popping in the dark. Hey,
right?
Like they're already on stage because, you know, they normally come in down the risers or whatever, right?
Right.
But they couldn't do that. So they're already on stage. And he talks about how you could see like Paul Stanley's jacket popping in the, I'm like, oh my God, man. Like it would have just been so mind blowing, especially at that age.
Just the fact that they were playing Lethbridge.
Right?
Wow.
Well, that too, yeah.
They played the Corral on that tour. Like there was no Saddle Dome. Anyway, and I go, how loud was it? He goes, oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Just mind-numbingly
Right.
loud, right? Okay. Anybody who knows me, it's not going to be a shock what my number 1 is. If I could see anybody, ever, anytime, any place, it would be, without question, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Aaron Presley.
I knew that was coming.
Of course. Now, I could have went one of 3 ways. I've kind of narrowed it down. I could have went with 50s Elvis, young, making chicks literally piss their pants, scaring the shit out of everybody. I could have went with that Elvis. I could have went 60s Elvis, you know, 68 comeback special, the black leather suit in the soundstage on TV. No. I'm 70s Elvis guy. So I went with the Aloha from Hawaii show. You guys familiar with that one?
Yeah.
It's a concert film.
Okay.
So it was at the Honolulu International Center. It was a charity gig. It was a big deal because at the time, this was cutting edge technology. It was broadcast via satellite worldwide to over like 1 billion people in 36 countries, or whatever Colonel Tom told everybody. And the stage was cool. The entire band is insane. You had that core TCB band. You got the full orchestra. You got the Stamps Quartet, the Sweet Inspiration singing all those backgrounds. Speaking of vocals, Elvis's voice at this point, the power in his voice is incredible here. And the showmanship, charisma out the ass. He's 38. He's fit, looks great. This isn't fat Elvis. Like,
right.
People don't realize he was only fat at the end.
Yeah.
And he was lean and killing it. Just killing it. I mean, 4 years later, he's dead, but that's a sidebar. Anyway, 22 song set. He comes out to 2001 A Space Odyssey theme. Like, that takes balls.
Right.
Like, you better fucking have something to say if you're coming out to that.
Yeah.
And he launches into CC Rider. He does a bunch of hits. Blue Suede, Hound Dog, Suspicious Minds. Does these big ballads. My Way, Gave Me a Mountain, Love Me. But the key is, write this down, gentlemen. YouTube American Trilogy Aloha in Hawaii. It gives me chills every time. It's just epic, man. Let's talk about that custom-made white jumpsuit, shall we? Dude, it's got an American eagle on the back. He's got a cape for the first few songs.
It's like Evil Knievel.
Well, Evil Knievel.
Exactly.
No, it's the other way around. Evil stole his fucking shit.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's got that belt. He was a superhero. He's a fucking superhero.
With the karate pose.
Oh, yeah. All this shit. He ends up throwing that cape and that belt at different points into the crowd. I'm like, oh my God, who's got those? Well, apparently, the cape anyway, some dude caught it and he had it for years, right? And on his deathbed, he goes, okay, when I die, give it back to Graceland. So I went to Graceland and it was there.
Wow.
And you weren't supposed to take pictures. But I said to Andrea, fuck it, take a picture. So there's a picture of me next to the cape, of course, right? It's fucking badass. Oh my God. So that was cool that he did that. Yeah, I've watched this thing. Anybody who comes over and watches my big screen, you're going to see this at some point, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
We'll watch it.
Okay. You got to come over, Dany and Jamie. You've never been over here. You're going to hear this and you're going to hear some Jeff Beck. Those two things are going to happen. Yeah, I got a 105-inch.
That's what she said.
No, that's only 12. My TV's 105. Okay, boys, let's do honorable mentions. John, what do you got for your 3 honorables?
Yeah, fuck you. I got 4.
See, now you're breaking the rules.
I've been doing this a second. I figure I can squeeze one more in. A band I came to way too late in my life, but I'm fucking huge fan. CCR. I want to go see them.
That's awesome.
I want to go back and see Creedence Clearwater Revival. I have not heard a song that I don't fucking love of theirs.
Hang on a second. I've known you a long time, and I didn't know you were such a fan. That's cool.
Because I came to it later, dude. Only in the last sort of half dozen years, weirdly. I mean, I've heard their stuff, but it's kind of like, gotta dig a little on this. And it's like, Jesus Christ. They got a lot of good fucking music.
They were almost as big as the Beatles for a while, man. That movie on Netflix that they had, I watched it like 3 times.
They're at the Royal Albert Hall on that one. Is that right, Dany? That's the one, right?
Yeah, I think it is the Royal Albert Hall.
It's fucking killer, dude. If you haven't seen it, John, you got to fire that up. It's wicked. Because to Danny's point, what people don't realize is how big they were.
Right.
And hits. Hit.
Yeah, every song.
And I think for people who maybe don't know them as well as you don't realize how many CCR songs you know.
What's that one? There's a bathroom on the right? Is that one of them?
Yeah.
Take dad jokes for 200, Alex? Okay, go ahead.
He was your number 1, but he's an honorable mention for me, Elvis. If we can go back in time, why not get that bad boy?
Hey, to quote John Lennon, before Elvis, there was nothing.
That's right, man. As far as rock and roll goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The old blues guys were one thing, but I mean, it wasn't rock and roll yet.
Wasn't rock and roll. Yeah. And then how about this little nugget? ZZ Top's Worldwide Texas Tour. Top I came to way later with I think probably even Eliminator is like where I really got into him. But then, this whole concept of this stage show with rattlesnakes, coyotes, longhorn cattle, all that kind of shit. I mean, how fucking wild would that have been? I think that would have been cool. And because we can't see them anymore, I just want to see them one more time. Fucking Motorhead. Just give me Lemmy. I'm not a purist. I love Phil and Mickey. I just want to hear that one more time. We are Motorhead, and we play rock and roll.
Yeah, the 3 Amigos, the original 3, they were on my list at one point. I thought, okay, I saw Motorhead. Fuck, off they go, but yeah.
Yeah, we saw Motorhead at, where was it, the fucking Palace?
I've seen them at Cowboys. The Whiskey I saw with Corrosion opening.
That was the one I'm thinking of. My fucking ears were ringing for 4 days. It was so fucking loud. Oh, it was so good.
Bri, you're up, buddy.
Everybody's talked about it. One of my favorite bands for sure, AC/DC. I've definitely seen them with Bon Scott. The 1978 Apollo Theater gig.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
It was a night in rock history, so that would have been a good notch. I do like Brian Johnson a lot. I mean, come on, he's been around since 1980, 81, whatever, right? So he's done a good job of filling that fucking void, right? But like we've all agreed, it would have been epic to see Bon Scott.
That's a common thread so far, absolutely.
I'm a big Police fan. I was really into the Police in the 80s.
Good one.
It's just changing gears a bit, yeah. They played Wembley, I think, in 81. That would have been amazing. I absolutely love Stuart Copeland.
Yeah.
I love his...
Is that the one where he eats fucking watermelon in the middle of a song?
That sounds right. Yeah.
He did some stupid shit back then, man. He almost tried to piss fucking Sting off every time.
I think so.
I think he was doing it on purpose.
You could see how he would be annoying. You could see it.
His reggae-influenced drum grooves, incredible fills. I just love that tasty fucking drum shit.
And they're one of the few bands that did it right. At their peak, synchronicity, boom, over. And yeah, they're reunited eventually.
Yeah, I did see them in 2007, I think it was, in Edmonton, and it was fucking great. The reunion tour. What am I going to say for third? I've never seen The Boss. I'm trying to go see him when he comes to Calgary. I think I have to go see him.
I'll be at that one. Yeah.
That's November, is it?
Yeah, it was postponed for a couple of years or some shit. Yeah.
But I'd go back to 78 when he played his hometown in New Jersey, the Capitol Theater. Apparently that show in 78 went down and in history is one of the best of that era. And that theater is apparently a small, intimate venue. Certainly when you compare it to something like Madison Square Gardens, where he had played, I think, before that.
Well, unless you have a massive stage show, because that's a whole different thing. You want to catch these guys on the way up. It's always cooler, I think.
Yeah.
Like you want to see them before the huge crowds. Yeah, Bruce would be awesome in a theater.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
He played 3 nights there, and it would have been...
5 hours a night.
Yeah, probably back then, right? I've seen footage of one of those nights. They were on fire.
That's one thing about Bruce. There's lots of archival footage and pro shot, not fan stuff. There's all sorts of great Boss footage, yeah.
And there were others, but I have to stop there.
Was that 3? I can't count, remember?
Good job.
Okay, Jamie, let's have your 3.
All right. I would have liked to have seen Ozzy Osbourne with one of my favorite guitar players on the planet.
Jakey Lee.
Jakey Lee, yes.
I knew that was coming. So Bark at the Moon tour or Ultimate Sin tour? What do you pick?
Ultimate Sin tour, and mostly because he was supposed to come here. I had tickets both times they put it on sale. It was with Metallica opening and canceled both times.
Oh, right.
I think that was when he ended up in rehab again. That's why he didn't make it here, but...
Fucking Ozzy.
His fucked up years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was all bloated and shit. He looked like fucking
Elvis.
B. Arthur.
Yeah, he was in rough shape for a while.
Showing my age on that reference, but he looked terrible.
He definitely stole her haircut, yes.
Yeah. Him and Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
Oh, good one. Yeah. I was thinking for me, I had Diary of a Madman with Randy on my list at one point.
He headlined Donington with Jake.
And you saw that show as well?
Yeah, I mean, he came out in this fucking cage with basically his head on top and these sort of wings opened up and fucking there he was. It was fucking wild. Just crazy.
That's cool. I would have loved to have seen Jake live. He's like in my top 3 guitar players ever, so...
So you didn't see him when he kind of came out of retirement for that Red Cartel stuff? You didn't manage to hit that at all?
They never came anywhere near here. And I mean...
I thought maybe Vegas or something.
Well, there was a point where I think I saw a show advertised in Nashville at a really small club. And I think it was around that whole COVID time before COVID hit as well. So I wouldn't have got to see it anyway. All right. Number 2, Motley Crue.
Yeah, I knew that was coming too. Which tour, Jamie? Which is it?
With John Corabi on vocals.
Oh, okay, right,
Of
right.
course.
That one album, yeah.
Oh, that show where you're the only guy there. That one.
Yeah. I would have got to see it real good,
I'm
though.
such a dick, Jamie. I'm
Hey, man.
sorry. I love that album.
It's true.
I love that
It's
album.
true, though. I mean, whatever. It was a flop at the time. But how many of those people that said they hated it now go back and go, holy fuck, this is really good?
I never hated it.
Me either. I loved
It was a different band. It was a different band with John on vocals.
Yeah.
Different sound, everything, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was so powerful.
My number 3, you already picked it, but Kiss, I don't even have a specific show or tour or any of that shit. I just would have loved to see them at their peak when they were still young and still kind of liked each other.
Yeah.
Totally, dude.
There's part of a show that I remember seeing. It was on one of the home videos. I think it was the Exposed one. I think it's Australia. Ace Frehley and Eric Carr. I remember watching Detroit Rock City because you were talking about that.
Yeah.
And then that's the song they're playing, and it was really cool. Like, I wish I would have saw them like somewhere in that time frame.
That was Unmasked, and everything was faster.
Yeah.
Like all the tempos went up because Eric Carr could drum circles around Peter Criss, right? Good one, man. Okay, Dany, what do you got for 3 honorables?
Well, there's a whole bunch of them. Again, like narrowing it down to 3 honorable mentions, it was tough. I saw Kiss when they reunited. They actually opened up the show with Detroit Rock City that one night. It was fucking wicked, man. I can't believe it was like that long ago, but that's a show that'll be burned in my memory forever. My first record that I owned, like that was my own record on vinyl, was Dynasty. It was given to me. A cousin of mine was like, "Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this album. It was too poppy for him or whatever." So he gave it to me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I fucking stared at that album. Oh my god, I don't know how many hours. Like the 4 faces on that album, it's just perfect. But anyway, I digress. My first honorable mention would have to be, this was a tough one, but fucking Pantera when Dime and Vinny were still alive. In their heyday, like in between Cowboys from Hell and the last album.
Reinventing the Steel.
Any fucking tour in between all that. I have their home videos here and I've watched them so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, it would have been amazing to see that show live. Any of those shows. And just get to hang out with them too. That would have been even cooler. But yeah, well, those home videos made me feel like I fucking knew those guys. Like
Yeah.
I was partying with them. So yeah, Pantera. Next one's a tough one. It was a toss-up between a couple of bands, but I'd have to say Motorhead. I was a big Motorhead fan. And again, it was one of those bands that I'm like, oh, I got time. I'll be able to see them at some point. And time just fucking runs out. And next thing you know,
They're gone, man.
Lemmy's gone, man. It's just like that quick. So yeah, Motorhead would have been cool because a buddy of mine that I played in a band with back home in Ontario when I was like starting out, he went to see them at the Sudbury Arena. And he said it was the fucking loudest thing he ever experienced in his life. And I think at the time, they were actually breaking records for the loudest shows. I don't know if it was in the Guinness Book of World Records, but it was pretty loud shit. That would have been awesome. And then one more. So I saw Van Halen twice. I saw them when they came to town with Dave and Wolfgang in 2007. It was a great show. It was super awesome to see. And I saw them in 96. Little did I know at the time that they were going to break up with Sammy a few months later. It was a great show. Toronto at the Molson Amphitheater. Fucking amazing show. But if I could go back in time and see them in their heyday, because a couple of my friends, they saw that show and they told me stories about it. And I'm like, fuck. Jamie Frankie was still white and black.
Yeah.
Back then. I would have fucking loved to see that Van Halen lineup back then.
No shit.
That first album, not that they weren't good later in their career, but that first fucking tour. And the stories, about when they were touring, they were opening up for Black Sabbath, and they were fucking blowing Black Sabbath off the stage, man.
Yeah.
And the guys in Black Sabbath were cool with it. They're like, okay, yeah.
Well, they were too high on cocaine to give a fuck about anything.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. But early Van Halen, I would have loved to see that shit. So that's my third and final honorable mention.
I love an amphitheater. You mentioned amphitheaters. Like, we don't have those here, right? But there's those shed tours. I've been to a few of those shows. They're great. They're outside. The sight lines are perfect because everything's sloped at a 45 or whatever. God, they're awesome.
We're
Yeah.
going to see David Gilmour at the Hollywood Bowl later this year. So
That's going to be awesome.
Okay, that leads nicely into my first honorable mention, Brian. Nice work. I've seen Pink Floyd one time, and Brian was right next to me. 94 Division Bell Tour in Edmonton. Without Roger Waters, and I've seen Roger 4 times as a solo artist, but I've never seen them as a unit. So to go back and see the 77 Animals Tour, that's the one I want to see.
Yeah.
yeah, I knew you were going there.
Like, in case you're wondering why I didn't pick The Wall, here's my weasel out on that. I saw Roger do the Wall Tour in 2010, I think it was. And the original lineup isn't going to top that. They're just not. I don't care if David Gilmour's playing Comfortably Numb solo or not.
Yeah.
The technology caught up to Roger's vision, and it was fucking unbelievable. That's my weasel out on why I didn't pick
If
The Wall.
anyone can weasel out of something, it's Randy.
The weasel. Exactly. My second honorable, you guys have all mentioned him, I think. I've seen AC/DC many times, but never with Bon Scott. So the show I picked is this one right here. The one they fucking shot in Paris in 79, Highway to Hell Tour.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I remember my brother and I went to some theater downtown to see the presentation of Let There Be Rock, the movie. And they had huge stacks, a big PA. It's unreal. We've all seen it. It's fucking amazing. You got Malcolm hammering those riffs and that rhythm section of Cliff and Phil Rudd. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I remember at one point they're switching out Phil Rudd's snare drum because he's beating it into fucking oblivion.
Right.
And Angus is out of his fucking mind on this footage.
Right.
He's huffing the fucking oxygen tank. His knees are bleeding
Yep.
because he's on his knees running around. He's in the crowd. It's unbelievable. So that's my second honorable. AC/DC 79, Highway to Hell. Oh my God. Like the energy. You forget. If you watch that right now, you're like, oh, that's what a band can do. You don't see that anymore. Where's that energy, man? I want that.
Yeah.
Do something. I don't care if you miss a note. I don't care if you're the greatest singer in the world. Fucking do something up there.
Yeah.
And number 3, I had to get this guy in here. I've been a fan a long time. Never even came close to seeing him before he died in 93. I'm talking about this guy right here.
Oh, Zappa.
Frank Zappa.
I saw Dweezil. That's the
I did
closest
too.
I'll ever come.
I saw him at the Juke, yeah. The show I want to go to, he did these run of shows every Halloween. So the one he shot here it was a bunch of nights in 77, New York City, Palladium shows. I think he did 4, which became part of this Baby Snakes movie.
Yeah, that would have been fucking amazing to see back then, man.
Dude, you got Terry Bozzio on drums, Adrian Belew on guitar, Tommy Mars on keys, Patrick O'Hearn on bass. And you get to hear classics such as this, boys. Bobby Brown Goes Down, Disco Boy, Broken Hearts Are for Assholes, Dynamo Hum, and of course, the classic Titties and Beer. You got to have that one in there.
Titties and beer.
And my last little nugget on this, a little sidebar to bring it back to Bill and Ted. Alex Winter, who played Bill in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, directed the Zappa documentary. And if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's an awesome doc. Even if you're not into Frank, it's fucking awesome.
No, I haven't seen that.
They gave him full access to the vaults. Have at it. And he did, man. And it's wicked. And one more, Thin Lizzy 77.
Yeah. Can I sneak in one more?
This one right here. I want to see this. Live and Dangerous. I want to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I know Gary. I love Gary Moore too, but for me, that's the shit. But anyway.
Yeah. So I think it was 1983. So some friends of mine that were a few years older than me, they saw fucking Stevie Ray at the Elmo Combo in Toronto.
Oh.
And I heard so many goddamn stories about that show, man. And I was like he was fucking smoking back then. He was a little bit, partying hard before his rehab days and when he got sober and everything. But
that's early on.
Yeah, 83, I think it was.
And it's recorded. It's on DVD. It's unbelievable.
The Elmo Combo, yeah. Apparently, the energy of that show was just like fucking through the roof. And I was only 10 years old in 83, so fuck, there's no way I could have seen that. But yeah.
Asshole. Get off of this show.
You were 10. I was 17, so not too bad. Not too bad.
I was 11.
Yeah, Jamie and I are the juniors here.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, anything before we sign off? Anybody got anything else you want to add? Or
I never put half the amount of thought into this as you guys did. It's really cool.
Oh, you did fine.
I didn't think about it that much. I just wanted it to be spontaneous and fun about what first came to mind. But if there was one thing that I wish I could have put on there that I didn't, Dany had covered it. Pantera. Like, fuck, I wish I would have saw them so bad too.
Yeah.
Here's my one that I almost put. And it's not that I want to go back in time and see them. I'd actually like to go see them now. And I'm not even sure I even like the music. I kind of think I do, but I want to see the show. Is fucking Rammstein.
Oh, yeah. Dude, apparently that's one of the best shows ever.
It's fucking insane.
Bar none.
Just from a spectacle standpoint, I'd like to go see that. I would.
They do a lot with fire. I've got one of their Blu-rays, and it's fantastic. You can't be homophobic either. That's the other little caveat. If you are, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I want to experience Wacken sometime.
The festival, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the coolest thing. It came out of a couple of guys who, like us right now, hanging out. A couple of guys who played music. One guy had a pub, so he said, "Come play here," and a fucking metal festival spawned out of that. How wild is that?
Can I be side stage for that? Because otherwise it's not happening.
Randy, just for you, my friend, you are going in the middle with me.
Back to Ramstein, my only complaint is they're so big. It's all stadiums, and I want it smaller. Anything bigger than a hockey rink, I lose interest. It's like, fuck.
And that's why Andrea loves you.
Well, there's lots of reasons, but
Because she likes it smaller.
Nice.
Hey, whatever works. There's a joke there somewhere. Shit.
Yeah.
More than one of them.
I'm getting rusty.
Jamie's writing shit down right as we speak here.
You can tell I'm tired because you already started with the dick jokes and I haven't said anything in like...
Exactly. Oh, man. Jamie's not on it tonight.
No, I'm not.
Fuck. Yeah. Okay, boys, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, man.
All right, dudes. Thanks so much for joining me, man. That was a ton of fun. We have to make this a regular thing, man, if we can. Schedule-wise, we should do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, and thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time to hang with us. Post your top 6 Time Machine concerts in the comments. If you could go back in time, who would you want to see? You can find us on all the socials, wherever podcasts are broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid. Come on, hit that subscribe button. I need more subscribers. And until next time, on behalf of John, Brian, Jamie, and Dany and I, keep rock alive, motherfuckers. Peace. Ow! Out!
Cheers.
Elvis has left the building.